The Artifact. Chapter 8. The Host of History.
Elias, driven by the instinct to protect the Codex Somnus from the electrical discharge, shielded it with his body. In doing so, he noticed something the sleeper had missed. The surge wasn't random. The massive electrical current was flowing into the ancient serpentine walls, seeking the deepest, most stable point in the chamber. "The energy isn't escaping, Agent," Elias shouted to Vance, pointing at a section of the wall where the serpentine was glowing a dull orange. "It's grounding itself. It's finding a path through the magnetite-rich rock to something underneath us." Vance followed his gaze, training her light on the floor near the original aperture. A massive slab of stone, easily 20 tons and previously invisible, was now beginning to grind against the bedrock, pushed up by an unseen force. The sleeper laughed, a high, triumphant sound.
"Exactly, Doctor. The code is not electrical. It is data. Pure historical consciousness. And it requires a vessel of immense capacity. One that has been patiently collecting the residual psychic energy of every generation of New Yorker." The slab rose a foot, revealing a massive, lightless chasm beneath the wellspring. From this hole emerged not fire or steam, but a rush of freezing air and a powerful, cloying scent, the odor of disturbed, stagnant history. "Welcome, children," the sleeper intoned, raising his arms in a gesture of absolute reverence. "Meet the foundation of dreams."
The Artifact. Chapter 9. The First Sleeper. From the chasm, an object began to ascend, slowly and powerfully. It wasn't a modern machine or a relic of ancient Rome, but a monstrous 15-foot-tall, bronze-clad mechanical sphere. It was crudely articulated, covered in barnacle-like protrusions, and etched with complex, almost illegible 17th-century Dutch geometric patterns. It looked like an early diving bell fused with an arcane celestial device. "The Sphaera Mundi," Elias breathed, recognizing the geometry, a legendary device. It was rumored to be commissioned by the first Dutch governor, Peter Stuyvesant, not as a defense mechanism, but as a perpetual calendar for the original settlement of New Amsterdam. It was lost in the 1660s. "A perpetual calendar indeed," the sleeper sneered. "It was designed to align with terrestrial and celestial magnetic poles, an antique 300-year-old hard drive. It records the collective psychic echoes of every soul who has died or dreamed on this island since 1650. The true first sleeper is the city itself, and this device is its heart." As the Sphaera Mundi reached the chamber floor, the severed wires of the generator whipped out like energized tentacles and began to attach themselves to the bronze surface. A pulse of energy surged from the generator's remains, traveling through the wire and impacting the sphere. The Dutch geometric patterns on the Sphaera Mundi began to glow with the same eerie blue light as the code in the Codex. "The digital Somnus project is complete, Doctor," the sleeper proclaimed, turning his back on them completely and facing the Sphaera Mundi. "The fragile code of order is now uploaded to the ultimate archive. And I, the final curator, will use this archive to project the perfect dream of a controlled, obedient populace. Manhattan is now a controlled experiment."
The Artifact. Chapter 10. The Last Stand.
Vance fired 3 rounds into the sleeper's back. This time, the bullets connected. The linen suit absorbed the impact, and the sleeper stumbled slightly, but he did not fall. He had been expecting them, and the brief upload sequence had already armored him. "A useless gesture, Agent," he said, not even turning around, his voice slightly strained but triumphant. "I am insulated by the code now. You cannot stop me." Elias knew they couldn't fight the man, and they certainly couldn't fight the massive, newly powered Sphaera Mundi. He looked at the Codex Somnus in his hands, remembering the masked collector's frantic urgency when Elias had closed the book. "The book is the key, Agent Vance. It's the frequency modulator," Elias shouted, moving toward the Sphaera Mundi. The sleeper digitized the code, but he used the book's open state to do it. If we open the book right next to the Sphaera Mundi, we might overload the transfer with the raw, chaotic energy it was designed to contain. Vance understood the desperate gamble. It was a scholarly attack on a psychic weapon. "You'll be exposing yourself to the full psychic backwash, Doctor. Better me than the entire city." As Vance engaged the sleeper, drawing his attention with a quick tactical burst of suppressing fire, Elias lunged toward the massive, glowing bronze sphere. He placed the heavy, black Codex Somnus flat against the bronze surface of the Sphaera Mundi. With a final, desperate act of will, Elias slammed the Codex open. The resulting energy discharge was instantaneous and cataclysmic. The pure, chaotic Aramaic symbols, amplified by the immense power of the Sphaera Mundi, erupted from the book in a wave of blinding azure light. The Sphaera Mundi began to vibrate violently, the energy of 3 centuries of New York's collective subconscious, joy, ambition, madness, and fear, all rushing out at once. The light consumed Elias, and the last thing he heard was the shattering crack of the Sphaera Mundi's ancient bronze casing, followed by the terrifying, high-pitched scream of the sleeper, as the digital code was violently ripped from his control and sucked back into the infinite, roaring chaos of the city's waking nightmare. Part 7. The Aftermath and the Echo. The release of 3 centuries of raw, unfiltered psychic energy, the true code, was not an explosion, but an implosion of consciousness. Elias felt a lifetime of accumulated memory, fear, and ambition that was not his own slam into his mind. He was momentarily blinded, deafened, and overwhelmed by the roar of millions of silent thoughts. When the light subsided, the subterranean chamber was silent once more, though steam still hissed from the ruptured floor. The sleeper lay motionless near the base of the Sphaera Mundi, his tailored suit ripped and his eyes wide, vacant. The digital upload, intended for control, had been reversed and violently purged from his consciousness. Agent Vance was staggering, clutching her head, the impact having temporarily deafened her and left her disoriented. "Elias, the book!" she shouted, her voice muffled in her own ears. Elias, despite a splitting headache, managed to focus. The Codex Somnus lay on the ground, smoking slightly where it had made contact with the Sphaera Mundi. The heavy Morocco leather binding was burned, and the ancient opal clasp was cracked, but the bone-like pages remained intact. He looked at the Sphaera Mundi. The bronze sphere was cracked down its side, the intricate Dutch patterns dark and inert. The first sleeper, the city's archive, was neutralized, its connection to the generator severed, its massive databank scrambled and silenced.